Hello. Okay, so I'm going to read page 34 and 35, and then I'm going to go into 36 and 37. When you get done reading 34, you need to pause it in between each of the questions so you can, because I'm just going to read quickly. Read this retelling of a Hawaiian folktale, then answer questions about the folktale. Choose the best answers for number 1 through 6. Long ago, the king of sharks saw a beautiful woman swimming skillfully along the shore. He fell in love with the woman and followed her to her village. There he changed himself into a handsome chief. Wearing a feathered cap, he walked into the village. The people of the village were honored that a chief from another land had come to visit them. They put together an enormous luau, and the people danced, feasted, and played games until late into the night. All night long, the king of sharks won every game he played, and as the night drew to a close, he asked the beautiful woman to marry him. The woman was delighted to say yes to such a handsome and clever chief. The two were married the next day, and the king of sharks and his wife moved into the house next to a deep lagoon. In his human form, the king of sharks swam every day in the deep blue waters of the lagoon. Soon the couple had a son, whom they named Nanave. A few years after Nanave was born, the king of sharks returned to the ocean and was never seen in the village again. But before he left, he gave his young son the feathered cape and told the boy to wear it always to hide the mark of the shark on his back. Always loyal, the son promised to do as his father was told. As the boy grew to manhood, every morning he would stand beside the deep lagoon, the feathered cape draped across his back. He would casually ask the passing fishermen where they were going to fish that day. The fishermen always told the friendly boy where they planned to go. Then Nanave would dive into the lagoon and disappear for the rest of the day. Over time, the people of the village became hungrier and hungrier because of the fishermen were catching fewer and fewer fish. The chief of the village called the people together and said, "Something bad is happening. It seems someone in our village is telling the sharks where we go fish." Nanave became frightened that the villagers would figure out that he was to blame, and he ran away from the crowd. He had gone only for a few steps, however, when he slipped on some wet leaves, fell to the ground. His cape slipped off his shoulders, and the villagers could see on his back a shape that looked like a shark's mouth. Then the people knew that Nanave was loyal only to the sharks. They chased Nanave out of the village to the banks of the deep lagoon. Nanave jumped into the lagoon and swam out to sea to join his father, the king of the sharks. Ever since that day, Hawaiian fishermen never told anyone where they intend to fish, for they fear that the sharks will overhear the plans, chase away the fish. Question 1. Finding main idea. The main idea of this story is found in the first paragraph, in the middle of the story, in the last paragraph, by thinking about the most important idea in the story. Now, boys and girls, in order to do this, you need to go back to the first paragraph and reread that. Can you underline a main idea? Or go to the last paragraph and ask yourself, can I find a main idea? If you can't, then it's D, but I need you to do that. Number 2, finding main idea. Which of these best explains the main idea of paragraph 6? Nanave slipped on some wet leaves and fell to the ground. Nanave's mark was revealed and the villagers chased him out of the village. C. Nanave became frightened of the villagers. D. Nanave decided to jump into the lagoon and join his father, the king of the sharks. Number 3. How did the king of the sharks first appear to the beautiful woman? A. As a chief. B. As a shark. C. As a fisherman. D. As a king. Number 4. Nanave ran away from the crowd because A. He was frightened that the villagers would know he was to blame. B. He wanted to catch fish for his dinner. C, he wanted to hide the mark on his back. D, he wanted the people to know he was loyal to the sharks. Number 5, understanding sequence. The boxes show some of the things that happened in the story. The first one, the king of sharks and the beautiful woman got married. So what you need to do is go back and find where the king of sharks and the beautiful woman got married. Then you're going to choose the next one that's in the middle between that and the king of sharks was returned to the ocean and was never seen again. Your choices are A, the king of sharks disguised himself as a handsome chief. B, Nanabe swam out to sea to join his father. C, Nanabe was born. D, Nanabe ran from the villagers. Number 6, understanding sequence. Every day after Nanabe asked the fishermen where they were going to fish, A, Nanabe draped the feathered cape across his back. B, Nanabe went back home and ate lunch with his mother. C, Nanabe dove into the lagoon and disappeared for the rest of the day. D, Nanabe stayed by the deep lagoon and watched the fishermen fish. Okay, so I'm going to stop and upload 34 and 35, and then I'll read the next part of the review on another YouTube. I'm going to label this page 34 and 35.